Welcome to the Emerald Life.
Hold on. We're having technical
We're good. Welcome to the Emerald Life
Welcome back.
podcast. This is episode 14 of
14.
yes, episode 14 of the cast. How awesome is this? Our producer is giving us some looks. What's going on? What's going on? Are we okay? Are we good?
What happened?
Camera switching, you forgot? It's okay. Do you remember how to do it? Okay. This is our first time. Our producer's behind the camera now. She's taking control of the situation to give me and the king some more time to free up so we can interact with our users and just, focus in on the conversation. So the producer stepped up to make things a little bit more streamlined. So here's to you. A little pat on the back, a little round of applause. Thank you to our producer.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you. We appreciate you. So today we got some dope fucking Blue Dreams ready here. And we're about to smoke. We just did a new unboxing video from the Daily High Club. They just sent us a wonderful box. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be coming up shortly. That's going to be dope. King, how are you doing? How's everything? As she's taking a nice ass bong rip.
Facts. I've been good. I've been chilling, honestly.
You've been chilling?
I've been very at peace with myself, honestly.
And so how's that experiment with the chakras and the stones been since last week?
Yes. I've recently been using crystals to heal, and I love it. Today I did a chakra cleanse, and I started with the red jasper, which is the crystal for your feet.
Okay.
And it was amazing. I had 15 minutes of meditation, and I have somebody walking me through live, like on the phone.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So she's talking to me. She's walking me through, the things that I should be doing while I'm meditating, while I'm trying to cleanse my aura. Yeah, it was interesting. And then I had to wear red. I'm still wearing red. Hence the red eyeshadow today. I have to eat red things and like strawberries and tomatoes.
What's the purpose behind that? Why would you need to?
Because red jasper, the crystal, is your red chakra. Because we have a lot of chakras. We have like 100 and something chakras. Okay. But the most important ones that we kind of focus on is the 7. And it goes all the way down your spine. So where your feet are, all the way to the crown of your head, there's 7 chakras in between. And each one is designated a color. Okay. So it goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and then clear. So like this red jasper, I don't know the names of all of them, but it's like the red crystal. All the crystals are colored as well. Okay. And you could use all of them at once, because since this is my first time ever practicing this, she's walking me through the seven crystals, and then after that I'm by myself. Like I could meditate with all of them. And she says the more I practice with them, the more like I'll become more in tune with myself, and I can see which one I need more, like which crystal I need to work on, which chakra I need to work on. So interesting. Like communication, let's say if I feel like I need to work on communication, I'll go ahead and I will use the throat chakra, the stone for the throat, which is a blue color. Oh, and by absorbing the color and absorbing anything, like consuming anything of that color for the day, is supposed to just help everything like happen. Interesting. So it's like wearing the color helps bring that frequency and vibe onto you. Right.
Very, very fascinating. I've never heard of like this kind of crystal therapy or anything like that.
I'm actually wearing a couple crystals now. I've been wearing them for like 2 weeks to 3 weeks now. I have my cat's eye on my left. I have my moonstone on my right, and then I have all of the crystals for all 7 auras as well on my wrist.
That's fresh. Fresh.
So they all have like different properties. You need to charge them, put them in the sun, in the moon, or the earth, it's really interesting practice, and you know, I've been fucking with it heavy.
Yeah, that sounds very, very fascinating. I would love to know a little bit more about that and see like if it's like just anecdotal like relief, or do you actually see like scientifically like any changes in the skin?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, for one, I've had my cat's eye in this hand, and ever since I've had it, my whole rash cleared up.
That's very fascinating.
I had hives on this hand because I suffer from really severe eczema that can be triggered with dairy or stress, and I guess stress got to me, so I started breaking out really bad. But as soon as I got my cat's eye and I put it on my wrist, it kind of just healed itself, and I no longer have a rash. And I've had that rash since like August, so this is like what, 3, 4, 5 months.
Wow.
Going on, yeah.
Wow, and then you just put them on and just vanished.
And it just, not that it vanished, but like every day it got a little bit better until I no longer have that rash anymore.
I wonder if that's more mental or if that's, you know, like
it's physical.
Yeah,
like,
but that's very dope. Like, just to think that, you know, there's other elements just other than, you know, standard medical science based healing. There's also crystal healing and aura and chakras, and it's pretty dope to think that everything is like interconnected somehow in some way.
Yeah, and you also like, you have to be careful what you think as well, because these crystals are so sensitive apparently that if you think negatively, that's what you're going to attract. So you also have to cleanse them. Like, I have to cleanse them with incense. I cleansed them this morning with incense, or with sage, or tobacco, or the sun, the moon, you know, water. There's a bunch of different ways. So
interesting.
It's very interesting. But, you know, I've always been a very spiritual person.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of that, like, I've been recently exposed to a holistic doctor. And that's also like pretty interesting. Like,
yeah, I could imagine.
Like alternative medicine, like the whole genre of alternative medicine is just very different. And you know what? Like, what got me thinking a little bit different about it was that my fiance, she was definitely thinking about doing some, you know, alternative medicine and turning to a holistic doctor. So she asked her you know, general physician, and her general physician wasn't adverse to it at all. Like, she even encouraged her, like, to check it out, you know, anything that you think helps. So it's like, it's not very, like, some people would automatically dismiss it, you know, as, you know, part of a way to help yourself. But, you know, even actual doctors also think it helps in some factor.
I mean, like, honestly, how could it be negative in any way towards you, though? Like, how could somebody say it's not good for you? You get what I'm saying? Yeah,
well, you know, the thing is that some people think it's a lot of like woo woo, like
voodoo doo doo.
Yeah, voodoo doo doo. Just like, you know, that's a little out there. Like, are you really selling me? I mean, like, is this bullshit?
Like,
really?
I feel like people are so boring. Like, why can't you just try it before you start fucking judging? Like, ew. Like, we're in 2019. Like, come on.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that got me thinking about like some of the shit that's actually going on, and like makes you think about where the future might be going. Cause like, well, I talked to you about that Aumana. I think I've talked to you about that like in the last cast. With basically, it's like this asteroid. Or it's like a spaceship of some sort. They believe that it might be a spaceship of some sort, and that it's orbiting. It's in our solar system, and you know, this is something that might be trying to communicate, or it's just like looking to us. But it's like we're in an age now where like alien technology or aliens might be theoretically possible.
I know.
Like, how crazy is that? So like it puts away like all, like most people can be skeptical about shit, but it's like when you're starting to see actual proof, it's like, ooh, it's getting kind of scary, some of the shit that's happening.
I mean, I wouldn't call it scary. I just feel like when people fear something, they just rather be ignorant to it. You know, instead of like trying to figure out what's going on, they rather turn a blind eye because they want to be in their safe little bubble and pretend like it's not happening.
I see.
Like a defense mechanism.
A defense mechanism. Yeah.
Yes.
Huh. I get that. Yeah. I mean, people try to not do things that are out of the normal because they don't want to be seen as different or whatever. So they'll be more adverse to like Stranger Things and Stranger concepts.
Stranger Things, the show.
Shout out to Stranger Things. Yo, that show is lit.
Bomb.
That show is lit.
I fucking love Stranger Things.
Oh man. Oh, and Stranger Things comes back. Season 3 is coming.
I feel like it's not gonna come as strong.
I hope they had a year and a half to work on it.
I really hope they feed my expectations.
Or I think almost 2 years. I think 2 years to work on it. So like Stranger Things 3 is gonna be. I think it's coming out this summer, in June possibly. I think.
Dope.
Yeah, that's gonna be freaking fresh. I'm excited for that.
Same.
So I was learning a little bit about Killer Mike.
No.
So, okay, do you remember back when we went out with our previous guest, Danny Chong, the Black MacGyver? We went to go to that concert. So
right.
So basically,
what's the name of the band?
Lords.
No, not Lords.
The Run the Jewels.
Run the Jewels.
Yes.
Yo, Run the Jewels is sick as fuck.
Run the Jewels is awesome. So, like, for those of you that are listening, so me and the King, we went to this concert to go see Run the Jewels.
We thought to go see Run the Jewels.
And if you guys don't know anything about Run the Jewels, I suggest you just look up their music.
Yes, please.
But yeah, so like they're pretty much rappers, but they're not like rappers that you hear on like on the radio. They're more like intense, and they talk about like real shit. So it's like it's a different type of rap. It's different. It's more intense. And so when we're going to this concert, mind you, we went there a little late.
We pre-gamed,
and we went there a little late. But so when we get there and we're sitting there and we just see Lords on stage, we're like, wait,
what is this?
What the fuck is this shit?
Like,
and
she's
then
still in the opening. Like, I thought that shit was supposed to be over with.
Right, and then later on we found out that Run the Jewels was gonna open for Lords, and we missed them.
Totally missed what we bought.
Yeah,
like,
we literally went out to that concert just to see them.
What's insane about that is that a lot of people felt the way we did. We felt bamboozled. Like,
well, how do you put Lords and Run the Jewels together? That's like putting.
I mean, well, I know that before when they performed on their last tour, that Lord would open for Run the Jewels.
Oh.
So I guess they were like working together, and they decided to swap it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of fans that were like upset because they left the concert just like us, who was expecting Run the Jewels and got Lord.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? And Lord, I'm sorry for any fans, but she's trash.
You know what? Yeah. I mean, in our opinion, she's not our taste in music.
Yeah, no. Like, I feel like her age bracket is like 12 and under.
Well, yeah. I mean, I hear
very,
her
like, kids boppy, like,
yeah,
relatable. Let me stop shitting on her because she makes money and I don't. I make money.
Yeah, but not on the same scale.
Yeah, not yet.
Anyway. Not yet. But respect. I mean, she is doing what she loves to do and whatever. But it's just not our cup of tea. It wasn't what we paid to go see. So anyway, Killer Mike, he is doing this new series. Have you seen it on Netflix?
No.
So Killer Mike is doing this series on Netflix called Trigger Finger. I believe it's called Trigger Finger. I think it's called Trigger Finger. But anyway, so like what he does is he breaks like this social norm and start thinking shit outside of the box. So like in the first episode, he was talking about how back when there was apartheid and the blacks were separated from the whites, there was like black doctors, there was black pharmacists, black groceries, black farmers, everything was black because everything was separate. But then when we, eliminated that, all of a sudden there's no more black doctors, there's no more black farmers. Like, all those jobs that were there before weren't there anymore. And these people turned to different things, or they moved away. So he wanted to try to bring money back to the black community, and he tried to, for 3 days, just buy things that were black owned by black owned companies or stuff like that. And he really had a hard time. He actually slept on a bench, on a park bench, because it was just hardly anything's really black owned. That's crazy.
It's terrible.
Yeah. So, but he did find, which is kind of ironic, he did find a cell phone service called Figure Wireless, and it's not Figure like you're thinking. It's FIGGER S. Figures.
Oh,
right. So
okay.
So it's Figures Wireless. That's a little, but I don't know if that has to do with the name of the person that started the company or anything like that, but that's a little too close to comfort.
A little too close.
A little. I don't see a white person buying a figure.
God. I have sometimes the most aggravating conversations about things like that.
Why?
Because it's people tend to, and it's kind of sad to say, but people tend to say oh, I can say this because I have associated with a black person before.
I have a black friend.
Right. That shit irks my soul.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, we have a battery power of 15%. We need to work on that.
Oh
no.
Oh, our producer just shots fired. Shots fired.
The trigger finger.
But so yeah, he was working on this pretty interesting series, and he was just breaking social norms. So in a follow-up episode, he wanted to teach people that you don't always have to go for the thought of you want to be a doctor or a politician or something like that. You can always choose a trade. Trades are just as important, like being a plumber or being stuff like that.
Oh, right, you told me about that.
Right. And basically he chose, so through studies or whatever, he chose to basically teach students with porn how to change a lock, how to change a lock. He did a whole porno scenario on lesbian girl on girl, on how to.
Yeah, but why he did that? Why did he do that?
Well, he did that because he said that 95% of all internet interaction is with porn sites. So it's an insane amount of numbers. So he's you know what?
He's why not educate the people while I'm at it?
He's you know what? Since they're going on this site anyway, since they're going here anyway, might as well teach them while they're about to masturbate.
Yeah, that's insane. What the fuck?
So, but what he found out afterwards that on a small focus group that were willing to subject themselves to this, he basically found out that they had 70% increase on retention of knowledge by doing this.
That's insane.
Our producer is savagely looking to save our phone. As you can hear her rumbling in the background, you can hear her forging away to keep our phone going. You're looking for a charger, I believe. Yeah, you might be able to plug it right into the computer, probably. No? To those that are whoa timber fire. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Where's the herbal wraps?
Herbal wraps is...
Or the Hawaiians.
The Hawaiian punches are right here. About to roll?
Yeah, why not?
You're about to roll real quick. Alright. So, that being said, I also want to talk about... have you ever seen the movie Ex Machina?
Nope.
You never seen Ex Machina? Dude, you have to go watch Ex Machina. I don't want to give away too much about it, but it's about the Turing test. Do you know anything about the Turing test?
The Turing test?
Yeah.
I have no idea. What is the Turing test?
So basically, the Turing test is a test to see whether or not an AI is a fully sentient being. Meaning, it's a test to check to see if you believe that machine is a human.
Okay.
Right? So like what does it take for someone to appear to be human, appear to have a human thought, appear to have, certain things like that. So that whole movie is based on that, and dude, that shit was such a mind fuck. It was such a great movie. It came out a while ago, but I've been hearing Joe Rogan talk about it. Like, ooh, look at that fucking Keith. Sorry, sidebar. So, I was hearing Joe Rogan raving about this Ex Machina movie. So I was like, you know what? Let me check it out. Let me see what it's all about. And I was very impressed on the way they took that movie and how they came to the conclusion of how sentient, how to bring a sentient being, how to think, how would you make a computer appear to be human, and their strategy was quite interesting.
That does sound interesting. Wow.
Yeah,
you can go through a rabbit hole with that one.
Oh yeah, you can just get lost in that. Oh, so she's looking for filter tips. Producer, can you pass me that box up there? Yeah. No, filter. Timber!
2-man down.
2-man down. Please forgive our producer.
Today's her first day.
Today's her first day. She's trying. She's doing her best.
She hungry.
She hungry. We all hungry. We just smoked up a lot. So, give her some, a little bit of slack. Hopefully this podcast is, entertaining to you guys. And if you guys are listening right now, what's going on is our producer just knocked over our Instagram live feed twice. So people are watching us and it's just woo, pow. Oh. In her defense, she's saying that the wire is kind of short and it's kind of the fault of the fact that the battery is low, but she's pointing specifically at me the finger because I'm the CEO.
Not the middle finger, just the regular finger.
The regular finger. What do you call that? Index finger?
What do you call it?
Index finger.
A chicken finger.
Raise your chicken fingers.
Right. You knew what I was talking about. So back to this topic
of Killer Mike.
Yeah.
So basically, what I wanted to bring him up was,
good?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. I just smoked a lot. That's all. So basically, what I wanted to talk about Killer Mike was the fact that he was doing he was breaking these social norms. He was trying to. I mean, sometimes he would do things that to me was a little bit dude, that doesn't sound right. Making instructional video on how to change a lock with porn. I don't think that's gonna be the best way that people are gonna learn.
Maybe he did it as a parody.
Well, he probably did, but at the same time, he's just saying, basically he's saying, let's be realistic. People are gonna go here anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's insane, though.
So he's like, there's most of these people are men that are watching all these porn sites, and he's like, might as well train their mind to do something more productive in the. But like in the beginning of that episode, he was saying like he was sitting down with like pre-K students, and he was like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And these kids were like, oh, I want to be a president, I want to be a physicist, I want to be this, I want to be that. And he's like, well, before you continue, I want to tell you something real quick. You're not going to be any of those things.
What?
Yeah. And he just like shattered on their dreams. Like, he's like, but what you can do is you can learn how to be a plumber.
You couldn't do that like high school kids. Like, it had to be little kids.
Like, yeah, he kind of like shattered little kids' dreams. So like, you know, there's aspects to what he was doing. Like, it's like, not the best approach there, buddy. But like, he does say he does have a lot of good points, because he went further on to say like, all these little kids wanted to like ask him a question, so they have their hands up, raise their hands up, and they're like, come on, pick me. So he's like, you know what, kids, put all your hands down. And he's like, you know what, that's what the government's gonna do to you. That's what people do in society. You have a question you want to add to your community, but the government says put your hands down. You can't participate.
I feel like that is way too advanced for kindergartners. So.
But then he's like, but he continues to say, but if you know how to do a trade, right? If I need to get my house fixed, who do I go to? If you're a carpenter, raise your hand, right? So like, you can put your hands back up, because now you can say you have something. So now we need you, as opposed to the other way around. Well, we need them, being the government, which is like it's an interesting perspective, but not meant for kindergartners. I'm
not really a fan of I mean, I guess.
Well, he went to the principal of that school, and the principal's like, nah, not the right topic for kindergartners.
Yeah, I don't.
Which then he went on to, you know.
They even registered what happened today.
Nah.
I raised my hand to be an astronaut, and my teacher said no.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't.
Well, I guess he did it more as a parody, but like, he does have a lot of like weird political views. Like, for example, he's very pro gun rights, and so basically what he was, I was listening to a podcast with him on, and he was talking about the fact that he feels the right to own a gun is something that should be preserved, and the reason being, regardless of the fact of all the gun violence that happens in his beloved community, he still feels like, you know, one of the first people to get killed during the Civil War were black people, or even during our independence were black people. So like, he's thinking, you know, these people fought and died for these rights, for the rights that we have, and are we just going to turn over our guns to them? And at the same point, you know, are the cops going to turn over their guns? And no matter what you do, criminals will always find a way to get guns. No matter what you do, criminals will always find a way to get guns. So,
but it's not the criminals that are really using these guns for the most part. I mean, yeah, they are, but the more things that I think people are focused on is like friendly fire. You know, like that, and getting it in the hands of like, you know, a person that's not mentally there. But I feel like they need more rules, and like they need to make it harder in order to get a gun. Like, you have to be on point.
Well,
so you don't go around.
For what he was saying, like, based on what I was hearing, what he was saying was basically that
not so much like he was saying basically to teach our kids gun safety, like to teach that in schools, teach how to hold a gun, how to shoot a gun, how to like learn everything about a gun, so that way everyone's educated at the same base. So his theory is that I'm not going to try to shoot you since you already know how to use a gun.
Yeah.
So like everyone's not going to try to. Everyone knows. It's like having the power being taken away, because it's not like, oh, I'm afraid of you because you have a gun. You've been around it so long that you know how to maneuver. You know how to handle certain situations. So it comes off as, I mean, as morbid as it may sound, to have guns that prevalent in our society, it might be beneficial to have.
Or what happens is the purge.
Well,
to contain all of the violence, they let one day a year to go fucking insane and just go have at it.
Yeah.
For 24 hours. And
would you think that would work?
I think so, but I just think that the world would be more dangerous in the sense of like people plotting.
They'll plot a whole year
because I don't know how the world would function though, because there's like nobody's safe. So like they could kill the president every single year.
That's possible.
They could kill like really big figures every single year and have to constantly replace. Like, if I don't like you, bitch, because you got a promotion, guess what? March 15th.
Your ass is going down.
You're never waking up.
You don't even know. You don't even know. I got a bomb underneath you.
You're right. Like
I've been planted that like months ago.
So it gets a little dangerous in that sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's funny because even now, like, it's stranger than fiction. But even now, I've heard some really weird cases, like a guy calling like a hired assassin on his neighbor because his neighbor put up trees that blocked his view of the beach because he lived across the street from the beach, so he still had the beach view, but when they put up the hedges, he didn't see the beach anymore, and he fought them and lost, and like fought them legally and lost, and tried all the right ways, and they were like, dude, that's their property, they can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, so he's like fuck, there's no way I'm gonna be able to enjoy my house. Right.
Nice. And how'd that go?
Yeah, well, he was on TV talking about.
So they found him,
and he's in jail, obviously.
What a dummy.
Yeah, so it's like, no matter what, people still gonna make really dumb decisions. You know, even though there isn't a purge, there's still people make really stupid thought processes and stupid decisions.
That's dark. Because you wanted to see a beach. You
killed
somebody.
You killed somebody. Like, flat out.
Just moved there. Like, what is wrong with
you?
That's jealousy, envy, and greed.
That's all three. And it's power, too, because you think this guy must have a lot of money, and he's so used to everyone, saying yes to him. And if there's ever a roadblock, you just throw money at him. Right.
Hire a sniper.
Exactly. Hire a sniper. Like, throw money at them. You just do what you call it, Pablo Escobar, plata o plomo. You either take my money or I shoot you. Whatever you want to do. What do you prefer? Yeah, like, nah. People are like that. People are insane. Most people did in Colombia.
I mean, a lot of people also died as well, but
yeah, well, those are the ones that didn't take the money. Pablo Escobar got a discount.
I would take the money real quick. I didn't see nothing. I was at home sleeping.
Well, the thing was that he was also trying to take advantage. Like, he would, like, lowball EMRLD.
Oh yeah, of course.
But
he's a fucking
yeah.
Have you seen his property?
No.
His property got turned into a fucking museum because the shit is so huge.
Oh, what?
It's like a humongous park.
Oh my God.
That's in the middle of Colombia, and like there's tigers there because he brought tigers there.
Oh my God,
how the
that's
fuck
crazy.
do you get tigers to Colombia?
I don't know. That's fucking crazy. That's, you know, I was listening to a podcast, and supposedly like that's a thing when you get rich. People just buy fucking
exotic animals.
Like,
are you good?
Yeah, like I just need a dog isn't enough. I need to have a wolf.
I need to have a silverback. Just, you know, chilling in my room.
Exactly. Speaking of which, did you know that bears walk on 2 feet?
Yes. But they also walk on all fours sometimes too.
They walk on all fours mostly, but they also walk on 2 feet, like Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
Like I never seen that before. Am I weird for not seeing that?
I mean, I don't think that you're weird. I just think that you didn't think of that option as an option.
I just thought Yogi Bear was just straight up bullshit. But supposedly bears just like walk around like on 2 feet.
I found out that bears are huge.
I feel a little less bad about
But bears are not just like our height. Like I was picturing them like human height. No, they're fucking ginormous.
Yeah,
they're like what, like 7 feet?
Yeah, so like,
and they're like 2,000, 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, and they got claws.
And they have fucking claws to swipe you.
Yeah,
and they got the sharp ass teeth.
Yep.
Like if one fucking, what do you call that? When you
and humans are the top of the food chain. Like how crazy is that? Like how a bear isn't the top of the food chain with all those weapons that they have. They have weapons. That's what it is. You know, they got big teeth, big claws.
They say you're supposed to act tall when you encounter a bear, but how can you act tall if they're way bigger than you?
Well, they see that as you're not being afraid. So I'm guessing that like you being standoffish and like that's like with any animal, like even with an elephant, like if you stand tall and assert yourself.
But elephants are so gentle.
Well, I'm saying like, you know,
hippopotamus though. Them shits are vicious.
I heard.
They're really.
I heard.
They're one of the most vicious animals out there.
I heard that they're pretty bad. Right? Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, I mean, hippos.
I just thought that they just swam around and sang.
Hungry hippos.
Right. Now you know why they're hungry. They're rabid.
They're rabid hippos. Another thing about what were we talking about?
Great question.
I forgot.
The purge, guns, gun education.
So basically, what Killer Mike was talking about, like he has like a lot of interesting, you know, points of views, which I thought would be interesting to discuss here on this podcast as we've gotten really high, which we did off of this Blue Dreams. Smells good.
Mm-hmm.
Smells really good. So now that we're transitioning, I also wanted to talk about something that I was learning about not too long ago, which is this whole thing on Twitter. So have you been paying attention to anything on Twitter?
I actually don't have a Twitter. I don't really. Yeah, no. Unless it hits Instagram, I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I really don't have a Twitter. I just have like an account that I go on from every now and again, but I really don't go on it like at all. But I was noticing like through all these podcasts that I'm listening to that, I mean, you can tell that that Twitter is a big platform when even
the president
when the president tweets stuff, and it's like a way for information to be, you know, broadcast, and that's like our newest form of media. You know, the Twitter is like our newest the closest thing to a poster board going, you know, extra, read all about it. Like that's all Twitter now.
Yep.
So like that's where we find all our news, and it's interesting because you can see that how we're being censored and how we're being like almost manipulated in a way, or controlled in some sort of way, because like Twitter is now like if you're a big figurehead, right, and if you're like a actress, or working in the media some way, and you tweet something wrong, that could be easily a loss of job. Like, you can easily get terminated if you say something that the network doesn't agree with.
Who was it? Roseanne, I think, canceled a whole show and like made people lose their jobs because she decided to say something really like ignorant.
Yeah, well, actually,
on Twitter.
Can you look that up? Look up the exact quote, what Roseanne said, because you know what, she says something, and if you look at what she said exactly, it's really, I don't really see why the fuck she got fired. I mean, granted, she was on, there was like an interview that I heard with her, and she was on Ambien when she tweeted that, so she wasn't in the right state of mind to begin with, and she was drinking, so that's a double whammy, that she wasn't in the right state of mind to begin with.
But do you think that she really was on these things, or do you think that she was just using that as an excuse?
Given like the history that she has, I believe truthfully that she was actually on Ambien. She was drunk, and she woke up, she thought something was funny, or she made like a quaint observation, posted it on Twitter. Right. Okay, so our producer's giving us this little news article. What did Roseanne Barr tweet? Let's see here. What exactly did she say? She said she tweeted the initials VJ and the words Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby.
Oh, because she was talking about somebody.
She was talking about, it says here, it might say here in this article, this tweet, Hulu reinstatement, blah, 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 blah. Let's see, keep scrolling down.
I'm pretty sure if you go on images, you can just see the tweet itself.
No, yeah, the tweet itself said VJ, right? VJ and the Planet of the Apes had a baby. That was the.
Oh, that was the tweet.
That was a tweet. How would you know that that's racist to begin with just by that tweet?
Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah, there you go, Valerie Jarrett. So basically, Valerie Jarrett is like some sort of she's like a politician, I believe. And basically, she was saying, well, basically the whole controversy was around the fact that Valerie Jarrett might be of African American descent, and so she took offense to the fact that she's saying that Valerie Jarrett and the Planet of the Apes had a baby, trying to make it seem like it was some sort of racist tone to that. But basically, in the interview that she was that she had with Joe Rogan, it was on the Joe Rogan podcast where I heard this, and basically what she was saying was that it was just a reference really to the movie itself, on how Syria and things are going on in the Middle East, that included with some of the policies that Valerie Jarrett did or was creating for that region, that it was something along the lines of policies that were being created in the original Planet of the Apes. So it's like she wasn't really being racist, she was just making a reference. And because of a stupid reference, mind you, she was drunk and she was on Ambien, and she wasn't in the right state of mind to begin with. But the fact remains that she just really tweeted this very vague tweet. VJ and Planet of the Apes had a baby, and you're gonna get fired. You lose your whole source of revenue, your show, and you get blackballed in Hollywood. Like, do you think that's fair?
mean, she's done a lot of controversial things.
I mean, she has, but the point is that Twitter is a place now where if you say something wrong, you can really lose your job.
Because it reaches millions of people.
But yeah, do you think that that's okay?
I mean, unfortunately, I don't think it is. But at the same time, if you have contracts and you have business pending, I think you should be aware and you should be acting accordingly, even off of the job. I know people make mistakes and people are human.
Right.
But as many years as she's been on the air, I feel like she knew better. You know, like she should have known better.
Well,
like, why do you have your phone in the first place if you're not feeling?
Well, she might have thought it was funny, and she has a track record of just doing stupid shit anyway. But the point is like that's not even the only thing. Like Twitter right now is just like a firestorm of all kinds of stupid bullshit. Like there's so many people that are just getting fired of what they wrote on Twitter for like.
I mean, yeah, like social media it's a really big thing now. Like if you are not supposed to be doing something outside of work and your boss ends up seeing it, like you can get fired.
Right.
Because it's used as evidence against you.
And it's
I don't think I guess in that sense I don't think it's fair, because then technically you are self-incriminating.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And then it's not. It could be. The point is that first off, we have freedom of speech, in which we can say and whatever we want, so long as we don't do anything to harm anybody else. Yeah. So like, unless those words are giving the okay to an assassin to kill somebody, what harm is that going to do, to anybody? And like with anything on social media, if you have any problem with anybody that says anything on social media, just fucking mute them, unfollow, scroll past. What's the big deal? If people tend to focus on stupid shit, and it's just like, really? Like, what are you focusing on?
I 100% agree with that statement. I feel like people feel very, very entitled. Like they feel as though their feelings are facts.
Well, yeah, and I think the problem with social media is that everyone's communicating with each other at a faster rate. So they believe that their feelings, like they have the power, to say or when they show the power,
that's kind of dangerous in a way too, because this is how our kids are growing up.
Right.
Like the next generation. Like,
and it's like it's growing. It's creating like a call-out culture.
They feel entitled. They feel like, I also feel that we're overly sensitive as well. I feel like sometimes it's flipped and turned into this way, but they're really reaching for it. And like people run with it. And I don't know. It's a weird thing. The internet's.
Yeah, it really is. The internet is like it's a new thing that we're still learning how to. Can you believe it's barely like 25 years old?
I know, it's insane. Imagine what it's going to be like in the future.
Exactly. So it's like, it's still fairly new, and people are still learning how to interact with it as it's going to be like faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
But like one of the things that I was learning about the whole Twitter and the social media and all that stuff is that if you really take a step back and really look at some of this, like who controls these companies and what's really being like done here, you may be sort of in a conspiracy theory realm. But like, if you really think about it, media controls what people believe about what's around in our world.
Well, of course, 100%.
If you don't see it on the news, you don't even know what's happening. So media is crucially important. So if Twitter and Facebook and all these social media sites are, the way that people interact with each other, right? So that being said, they are being controlled. Like all these people are being funneled through these websites, and that is being controlled by Silicon Valley. You know, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all these like.
I mean, it also goes
Netflix,
back to Google,
right?
And Google hearing what you
exactly,
like,
and
example,
they give all that information. This is the point I'm really trying to make, is that they gather up. Everyone's using this platform, and they gather up all your information, and then they basically sell that to advertisers, right? So now it creates this weird sort of power, because now they could turn that power into something like a way that they can change society, because they have a platform in which, like, for example, 4chan was noticing that Donald Trump does a lot of like this, right? Oh, whenever he talks or whatever, and somehow they linked it to this, meaning white power.
Okay.
Right? So like the W and the P, white power. And now to a point where white supremacists, like members of the KKK, may not have even thought of using that. And it was never a symbol, but now that it's already existing, they're like, why not? White power. So now all of a sudden, it just an okay symbol suddenly becomes like fucking like a Nazi sign.
Yeah.
So it's like it changes little thing. Like all you have to do is fuck with a community or say something like totally outrageous, and people would run with like a meme. Like just create a meme and people would run with it and change, like it would change everything, which I find that pretty interesting. And like,
yeah, I don't know what I also find interesting is that like your phone is always recording.
Yeah.
Like because you know how you could say Bixby or you can say Siri.
Yeah.
Right? In order for them to register that you're saying that, they have to be listening.
That's true.
They're listening all the time.
And that makes you like think, and then
putting this information like
right. And going back to what Ex Machina is all about, which is like very fucking crazy, which is like AI and artificial intelligence, is basically that what Facebook and Google and all these platforms are doing is they're gathering information which then could be turned into a conscious human mind, because now they have all the information and all the things necessary to understand how we interact with one another, and the information needed to interact with another human being without being detected as a robot, which robots are currently being used more and more. In fact, there's in LaGuardia Airport in New York, they have a robot security guard. Did you know that?
No, that's crazy.
Right. And it's just like this weird robot security guard that's policing the airport. And it's just like, this is slowly happening, and like so many people are focusing on the wrong things, and before we know it, like we're going to be on a world that we cannot recognize.
Yep.
Like
I hope that you guys are all on our level, by the way, because we are stoned. We hope throughout this whole podcast you light up, you spark up with us,
because we're just talking about random shit and conspiracies, and the only way to fully understand it is if you get fucking ripped.
Yep. And just want to say thank you to Daily High Club, because without you we wouldn't be where we are today.
Exactly.
Pieces today, we received another piece. Check it out on our Instagram on Instagram.
Yeah, we're gonna be posting our newest unboxing of this Daily High Club box. It's gonna be January's box. It's a dope box. You can already see what we've received. It was this dope bong over here. If you're on Instagram, you can see it. If you're on YouTube, it's this dope box over here, and it's just it comes with a little dab rig, and it came with a little
clipper.
Little clipper, but it also came with like a olive dabber.
Yeah.
To like it's a pick to like pick up your dab. But it was a great box, and it's only for $30 a month. Our producer is sliding over the box with the contents, but it's only $30 a month, so it's a great option for those stoners that looking to get some dope pieces. And if you have a lot of people coming over your house,
it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Like, you're not paying just for one piece. You're paying for a bunch of different things. That's super helpful. Like, I think these boxes make it so easy to smoke. Like, it makes it effortless.
Yeah, it really does. And you have a lot of things, like you have like rolling papers, you have like hemp roll-ups for the blunts, you get glass filter tips, you get filter tips, you get all kinds of different things, and stickers.
And you don't have to, like, sometimes you just don't want to go to the deli and be judged.
Right, you really don't.
You just want to discreetly do your thing and be left alone. And getting a discreet box that has no sign of Daily High Club on it, it's all just a regular black box.
Right.
You open it in the safety of your own home.
Exactly. And it's like,
and nobody will ever know that you're a pothead.
Exactly. No one knows that you're a pothead. And then you have like a little glass menagerie of random little pieces of different, and then like if you have guests over, if you have like more than one person, everyone can have their own bong.
It's a conversation piece as well. People are gonna be like, "Yo, where the fuck did you get all this shit from?"
Exactly.
Daily High Club.
Daily High Club.
They
exactly.
even have like a little, little pad for like.
Yeah, they give you like they give you pads, and they give you like
a grip so that the bong doesn't slip.
Exactly. And then in this month's bong, in this month's box, they gave us another little pad, which is pretty cool. Just check it out. Yeah, our producer is just telling us to check it out.
Yeah,
I think we're getting really we're getting really stoned. It's time. We're hungry.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning into this cast.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate everything. Check us out at EMRLD on Instagram. Give us a like, give us a follow, and on YouTube at EMRLD. Check us out, give us a follow. Comment on this video. Tell us if you like it. Tell us if you want more different topics. Tell us what you want us to exactly.
Every Sunday. Go on Instagram when we're live. You can get it first.
Exactly. And we want to know what you guys want to hear. So if you guys have any questions, if you want to ask us to talk about anything in particular or research anything, just give us a comment, and we'll go ahead and follow up on your comments. And we appreciate, once again, to all those people on Instagram that are giving us all the support. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the stuff that you've been, all the likes, all the follows, all the comments. The engagement has been crazy. So we totally appreciate you. And we hope to bring more interesting content for you in the future. So this has been episode 14. I can't believe it. 14 weeks.
Yep.
And we hope you enjoyed, and keep smoking. Peace.
Smoking, peace. Get high.
Get high. Get high.
And 420.